What's up? Welcome back to Geek Tweaks. I'm Dustin. Today we're going to be disassembling a OnePlus. It's one of these guys right here. I'll go ahead and jump into it. What I'm actually doing for a customer is swapping the board, the logic board, from one phone with a good screen to a, well, this is the bad board, I'm sorry. Swapping the good board out of this phone with a broken screen to the same phone but with a good screen on it. So I just took this one apart. It's the first one I've done. This guy over here. Now we're going to be taking this one apart. What you're going to want to do first, pretty simple. I had never done one of these before, but I mean, you could just kind of figure it out once you've done enough phones. I actually repair phones for a living, so I've kind of got them figured out. But you can actually just get your thumbnail under here. I usually use my fingernail. You can use a pry tool, but just get your fingernail underneath here. That one actually didn't have a SIM card, so let's take the SIM card tray out. Those usually get in the way. So, well, easier said than done, I suppose. Let's try this. There we go. It's way in there. Okay, so that's going to be his SIM card. So we're going to kick that out of the way. Try to get it apart from this side here now. I think that other one actually has been taken apart before. I think it's been repaired because some things inside of it were kind of wonky. There we go. Getting some separation now. I don't even know if that's in view for you guys, but just kind of work your fingernail around here. There's really not much that you can hit around the outside, so you don't have to worry about that too much. Obviously, like any phone, you don't want to go too deep, you know, and hit the board or part of the screen or a cable or something like that. But this one's actually turning on. This one, from what I understand, the screen turns on, everything works. It's just because the digitizer is broken, there is some dead spots. So next, what you're going to do, use a little screwdriver here. All these screws are the same size, and they're just regular Phillips screws, so they're pretty easy. These are all my screws from the other phone, so I'll go ahead and keep those separated. And for what we're actually doing, I'm not going to take this off right here. So this is just going to be kind of a bare bones disassembly, but it's one of those things. I mean, if you're looking to try to figure out how to disassemble this phone, once you get past this, you know, this point, once you're inside the phone, you know, if you've done any other phones, you can figure it out from there. So that is where I'm planning to get you. All right, all of those are now gone. Okay, so then the other thing that kind of stumped me for just a second, because I'm not used to seeing it anymore, it's kind of an older thing that they just don't do. You can use a razor blade, but there are 3 little rubber plugs right here. And I don't even know, yeah, that looks like it's focused, so you're good. But 3 little rubber plugs right here, you're going to want to pop these out. One of these guys flew away on me on the last phone, so just kind of be real careful. And these are the same size, so we'll just put those together there, but I'm just using a razor blade, just kind of stick it in there gently and pop it out slowly. Otherwise, I mean, I had one fly a good 3 to 4 feet away from me and completely lost it, can't find it now. And then once you do that, you'll have 3 more screws right here that you're going to want to take out. So obviously, if you just leave those plugs and you pull those outside screws out and start trying to rip it apart, you're going to do some damage. So be sure to remember that. Take that guy apart right there. Simple as that. Okay, so then the next step, since we're just taking the board out of this phone, we are going to, I just got my fingernail under this. There's kind of a little overhang that covers up the volume and power button on either side. Something else to note is that these buttons are attached by a thin ribbon cable to the board, which I've seen in a lot of other phones. Not as many as a more intelligent design, which would be to not have those soldered to the board, because there's so much that can go wrong with those. So I've just seen and had a lot of problems with buttons that are attached directly to the board, but whatever, I guess. See, that's one right there. Just caught that. The other one, like I said, I think it's been taken apart. It didn't have that sticker over the screw like this one does, so we'll go ahead and remove that one. I knew it kind of looked funny, but and then you can just kind of pop it up. There was a little bit of adhesive on the plugs down here, so you want to be pretty careful with those and try to work your way around the top first. And if you can do that, then you can get to those cables and get those detached. This back piece is not attached to the power and volume buttons. At least it wasn't on the last one. It's not. Okay, and there wasn't even any adhesive holding these on. The last one, those were like stuck to this piece, so I was a little worried about these cables, but we are in good shape. So now we are to this point, and that is good news. What you're going to first want to do is go ahead and detach all of these. Battery, for anybody that's repaired a phone before, you always want to disconnect the battery first if it's a sealed phone like this. Then you can just kind of do the other ones in any kind of sequence you want. And then just kind of do your quick run around the board, make sure nothing's still plugged in. This is going to be probably the LCD and digitizer, so we'll disconnect that, make sure all these are pulled out of the way. And the board is on a couple of clips on the bottom here, so I was lifting up by the top. You want to always do this gently, just to ensure you're not doing any damage to the phone, the board especially. There's something else that wasn't on the other one. It's a little baby screw here. So we'll pull this out. Yeah, you always want to make sure you're being very alert when you're taking a phone apart for reasons just like that. Something I actually forgot to do here is pop these guys out. And this is the good board, so we want to be extra careful with this one, since right now all I'm doing is a board swap. I was able to get these buttons out pretty easily on the last one, but I don't think that this one has been repaired, so we might not be quite so lucky. Okay, yeah, it's being kind of stubborn, and I don't want to rip that cable at all, of course. Maybe a razor blade will help, just kind of get underneath it. Pop it out. Look at that. Okay. Now we're in good shape. Now we use our tweezers, pull this guy out and away from the mid frame so it doesn't accidentally get reattached or hooked on again. On this one, it is actually covered on this end, so you're going to want to kind of go in from this side. I was able to just get my tweezers under here like this, and it seems to be working again. Underneath the buttons, and then just pull it out just like that. So now we're in good shape, and you can see the solder points there where those buttons are connected. So just make sure you're pulling those out. Pull all these connectors away from the board, otherwise they'll get kind of hung up on it. And oh yeah, that's what it was. That's something else that's pretty annoying. They place the antenna on the bottom of the board right here, the antenna connector. Pop that off. There we go. Okay. And now we're free. So now we have our board out. This is the broken screen, so we know that this is the good board. We'll go ahead and place this one off to the side here. And we're going to throw the board into this one. First thing we're going to want to do, which I've been kind of worried about this whole time, is connect this antenna cable. That actually works. You can just pull it up. And then connect that antenna to the same port, of course. I'm going to just jam it into something else. And lay it back down. Get all the connectors out of the way so you don't hide any underneath the board. Get everything pushed into place. And it lays down just like that. Like a glove, of course. They are the same phone, so I can't say that that's a surprise, but... And then you just go ahead and reconnect all of these. You'll put your back on, put those screws in, and then ultimately put your full back cover on there. Okay? So that's going to conclude this video, guys. If you have any questions about it, if this is something that interests you, leave a comment or like the video below. Subscribe. That helps me out a lot. I do cell phone repair for a living, so I haven't done any videos on disassembly for phones yet, but if it's something that you guys need some help with, just let me know, and I can show you how to take apart any phone. All right, thanks guys, have a good one.